Clerk will call the Sawyer County Finance Committee meeting to order. Ask the clerk to call the roll.
Bruce Paulson, Ron Kinsley,
Sure.
Don Pettit,
Here.
Tom Duffy. Here. Stacy Hessel. Here.
Thank you. Let the record indicate we have a quorum. 3 members are here and 1 member is virtual, 1 member is absent. Next item is pledge allegiance.
United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
For certification of compliance with open meeting laws.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Number 5 is the meeting agenda is set. There's no changes to the agenda, so that's set. Number 6, public comment. People want to speak a public comment. Steve Bingham.
Binding, yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
If you could go up to a microphone so they can hear you online.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, everybody, Steve Binding, Town of Draper, new planning commission, strategic planning commission chair. Live on Blaisdell Lake Road, rural Loretta area. My comments are to item 8A. So I was up kind of half the night looking at these Sawyer County grants that were submitted this most recent grant period. I think it's like a 5-BF-2022. And the good news is there's a pile of grants in there. And even better news, we have 8 grants for Sawyer County. The good news is, thanks to Rado for getting us off Town of Draper. But what's happened here, this new map is giving us some problems because we have grant number 155 from Spectrum Charter that covers 11 townships. And it appears to overlap several other grants that have county approval. So grant 155 with Spectrum Charter does have a letter of support from Sawyer County, and there's EDC support for several other grants. So they are sitting in direct opposition for some of the lakes, specifically the Connors Lake and Moose Lake areas on this grant.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm asking this committee is to carefully review these maps, because what is likely to happen, we are now in the protest period, and Sawyer County is going to be having to choose maps. Grant 155 is a $40 million investment by Spectrum Charter that has 0 county match. So for $0, we can get a $40 million infrastructure investment in this county. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Courthouse construction update.
Okay. Monday night, the Public Works Committee met in a special meeting to discuss the approved guaranteed maximum price amendment that is going to be on the county board tonight. And as part of approving that, they also forwarded to the Finance Committee the resolution authorizing general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $2,071,395 for courthouse facilities to the Finance Committee. And so that's what we're looking at in the Finance Committee to discuss this and then move it to the county board agenda for this evening's discussion. This is we've been through 2 rounds of biddings. This is the final number on the gap. So we've already approved $8 million towards the funding. The gap now is the $2,071,000.
So when are they planning to break ground? Could you remind me of that?
I don't have a specific date. I know they're talking about doing some of the utility stuff here in April, but I believe Dave Keating from Myron Construction will be in attendance tonight, and you can ask him that question.
Okay.
I'm sure they've got a plan.
Okay. But there's not going to be a third request, is what you're saying. This is capping it. We're not going to bring this back for discussion.
Correct.
Okay.
So what we need is a resolution.
We need a motion to
Bring it to the
approve
full
this,
board.
to bring it to the full board.
Yeah, also move.
I have a question. So, Mike, what's the total cost for the courthouse now? 10?
It is 10,000. It is
10 million,
10 million.
and we started up,
10,000 is better.
$10,071,395.
Dr. Garfinkel made the
Number
observation that
Some items that are pending might reduce that a little bit, but that's the number we're going with for tonight.
So we have a motion by Mr. Duffy. Is there a second? I'll second the motion.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, in discussion then.
Yes.
So by Myron is bound to this number, like Ms. Hessel mentioned, by their construction manager at risk obligation, which is supposed to tell us they'll be on time and on budget. True?
Yeah, so the amount that Myron is bound to is 8,618,746. The difference or the gap that it's about 1,450,000 is additional costs the county has to incur for the project to go forward. There's design fees that are probably close to $650,000. There's California Avenue, which is $1,000. There's furniture and equipment, which is probably $300,000. And then there's some other utility type things that bring it up to the 1,450,000. So those two combined are the 10,071,000. But Myron's piece of it is the 8.6 million. And we'll hand out details when we get in the meeting tonight on some of that. I think some of it was maybe in the packet.
You had a 4-page attachment, I believe.
Okay. I've got more detail from you tonight.
Any further discussion? Yes.
Is there a penalty that they have to pay if they are not on time and not within the budget?
We talked about that. I don't know what we came up with, but I wanted it, so if it's not done by the time it's supposed to be completed, it starts costing them.
Okay. So we'll have that in writing is what you're saying.
That's a good question. I know we talked about it. I don't know if we got in the contract.
I wasn't part of those discussions. I don't know.
We'll have to look at that, but that's,
I would like that in writing. That would be my request.
any other discussion? We'll vote on the motion and all in favor of the motion. Aye.
Hi.
Opposed?
aye,
Does she mean aye or no? Like, did she oppose or in favor?
I think she is.
I oppose.
Oh, she.
Thank you. So, motion carries. Thank you. So, and that is to move forward to the full board this evening. Okay.
Correct.
Number 8, Novato Public Service Grant Application. This information was brought to us that Draper asked to decline or rescind out of the grant that Novato had put together. So we brought it back here because it had changed. We want to bring it to the finance committee and then to the full board. And who did we talk this afternoon?
Leo,
Is Leo here?
Leo.
Thank you. I didn't know which one was which. You want to explain to the committee a little bit what happened there, please?
Sure. Yeah, move up a little bit. We at Novato were asked by the town of Draper to remove them from any mention or any services in our previous grant request, the one that did go through the county, that the county approved $100,000 for. We were able to do that, and we were able to rearrange that and end up with, we pulled everything that had to do with Draper off of that grant request. We rearranged that grant request to only run through the town of Winter. We also added the town of Moose Lake up through Clam Lake. So we were able to add, I want to say it's 248 additional locations. We didn't reduce our grant request, the number of locations in any way. We were able to add those as was requested. So
Thank you. right, that the Public Service Commission kind of regulates who goes in what area. Can you talk briefly about that, please?
Of course. It really is, I mean, there is no set number of how many people can have a grant, who can have a grant. Without those grants being sent in as they were, with no entities knowing who was doing what. That's how it then makes it onto the PSC to make the determination of who should or should not, if there happens to be overlapping areas and different areas like that within an organization or within grant requests. And it's the PSC's job at that point. The PSC is obligated to make those decisions based on the information within the grant request and based on their set criteria for points. So the PSC sets all of the criteria. As a requester, we just make the request per their rules and try to follow them best we possibly can and get as many points as possible based on their set rules. Any other questions from anyone?
Yes.
Could you clarify publicly, is this an amendment to the original one that we approved, or is this a new one?
So the original one that was approved, this would be a different grant request. Because we needed to amend and change nearly everything to remove the town of Draper from within that grant at all.
But it's not an additional 100,000.
No.
Yeah, that's what I just want to clarify
Sorry.
publicly. Well, because I know that a lot of people on our board keep saying that they don't want to give any more ARPA funds to
Sure.
broadband. So I just wanted you to clarify, this is not a new,
Not
it's a new layout of the request that was already submitted.
correct.
Yep, that's just what I
Absolutely.
wanted
Yes,
publicly stated.
got it.
Okay, other questions? Paul? Hearing none.
Thank you.
Yep. Mike, anything you want to add?
No, not at this time.
Many wishes, I entertain a motion to approve it and pass it on to the full board.
Stacy, you want to move?
I'll make that motion, yes.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Motion by Mrs. Hessel, second by Mr. Duffy to approve and move to the full board. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. What else we have here, Mike?
Adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming and take time off to discuss what we had in front of us. That helps explain a little bit what we have moving forward. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
We'll see you next door.